So we're dealing with a vinegar shortage now? I mean, just take a look at the latest video from a Dollar General store. Hashtag empty shelves.
Well, a week later, I am back. We may have gotten some cereal in. I can't tell because it's just about as empty. And the milk is just about as empty.
And from what I've been hearing from my friends, vinegar is the next product that is running out from shelves. And honestly, I get it. Vinegar is a very versatile product. You can use it as a disinfect cleaning product. You can clean your laundry. It's good for preserving food. So yeah, just kind of got me concerned a little bit. And if you're anything like me, make sure to get a big container of vinegar once you have it. If you take care of storing your vinegar, it could last a long time. Have you guys noticed any big shortages in your grocery store shelves lately? Just drop me a quick comment down below. Let's compare notes. I just heard from Central South Carolina. There, it's not a problem of supply so much as a problem with out of control prices. People have been telling me how they are seeing items go from 88 cents to $1.98 in the food aisles, and men's underwear from around $10 to $12 to $20 a pack the last couple of years. It's really looking like a lot of people are not splurging and only buying the necessities. Now, as we all know, the C-19 pandemic has caused a huge disruption and uncertainty in many aspects of our lives, including our food supply chain. Now, on top of that, extreme weather events such as hurricanes, wildfires, and droughts have becoming more and more frequent and severe in recent years. All of these things are adding up to a very serious impact to our food supply. And what do we have now? Well, we have major food shortages, even a food shortage crisis according to some people. And yes, you've guessed it. What we're seeing are severe consequences for individuals, families, and communities. So let's talk about what's happening. Grocery shortages, like where we're actually seeing this first quarter of 2023. Food shortages abroad that could be coming to America, kind of like the lack of fruits and vegetables in the UK. And of course, the best way to prepare for a severe food crisis, or I should say a severe food shortage crisis, stocking up on the best food types that give you the most bang for your buck, just in case we do actually face a food shortage crisis. You guys ready for that? All right, let's go ahead and get into it. And also, of course, for the best way to invest in gold, hit the link in the description down below of this video. It's all about preparation, folks. Now, is it just me, or does it feel like we're going into battle every time we go into the grocery store? When you cross the automatic door threshold, shopping list in hand, you're immediately met with ransacked displays, missing favorites, prices like you've never seen before. Then you come home defeated with only half the products you needed, while at the same time paying almost double the price. This was pretty much the story for most of 2022, and sad to say, the story for 2023 is shaping up to be more of the same. Just check out this list of food shortages. Eggs, you guys remember when eggflation was the talk of the town, right? We got hit pretty seriously, starting with bird flu claiming the lives of more than 58 million chickens nationwide, with egg layers suffering the most. Higher prices for energy and chicken feed, they're reportedly making matters even worse. Critics also claim that some egg companies are taking full advantage of the situation to boost their profits. Now, as a result, customers are faced with skyrocketing egg prices and oftentimes empty shelves, while grocery stores put limits on purchases. Now, the average price for a dozen of eggs more than doubled over the course of last year, and it's showing no signs of coming down in 2023. Beef. You guys remember the Wendy's catchphrase in the 80s, right? Where's the beef? Well, that's exactly what people are asking, as there's a very serious meat scarcity happening right here in the US. Now, thanks to record-breaking weather events, meat producers have had serious problems with their output. Texas, the country's largest beef producer, was hit by an extreme drought for the majority of the summer months. Many ranchers were forced to sell off a sizable amount of their cattle earlier than expected. This caused slaughter levels to escalate in the second half of the year. And so now those ranchers, they're having to try to repopulate their herds and correct the damage that was done, meaning a time of higher prices and dwindling beef availability probably coming up soon. Oh, and lettuce. Did you guys notice? The ongoing lettuce shortage first hit restaurants, but now it's trickled down the grocery store shelves, driving up costs and stifling stock. Another serious disease carried by insects brought this one on. The disease spread very quickly across California's Salinas Valley, a major producer with nearly 50% of the country's lettuce production, and it destroyed over 80% of the area's crops for 2022. Other items on the shortage list: champagne, of all things. I guess people are just popping bottles. Fish in cans, canned drinks, foods, sunflower oil, palm oil, bread and other wheat products, corn, oranges, and orange juice. And if it's not a food shortage, people have been reporting milk or food spoiling soon after they bought it. Now, I'm not really sure what is going on with food. I heard with Ballpark Franks in Raleigh, North Carolina, they're supposed to be good, but lately they just been kind of tasting nasty. I don't know if it was just an anomaly or if they're just kind of messing with the ingredients or what they're doing. They were supposed to be Angus beef hot dogs and they just tasted like really bad. People had to return them to get their money back. I mean, what the heck is going on here? Now, what we really need to watch out for is if things get any worse. United Nations officials are already calling it a global food shortage.
What we don't want for sure is that today's affordability crisis turns into or becomes tomorrow's availability crisis. We are in the midst of a global food crisis. Right now, more than 50 countries have food inflation of more than 15% year on year. This is troublesome, not only for the poor countries, but also for rich countries. Now, this is really important. You know why? Because we, sitting in vast economies, we spend maybe 10-15% of our income on food. They, on a good day, spend like 50-60% of their income on food. We need to make sure that millions upon millions of people, not in one, not in two, but in dozens of countries, have access to affordable food in 2022, but also in 2023 and going forward. There are plenty. I think it's about time we start putting them into practice.
In the UK, sales of some fruit and vegetables have been limited by most of the country's largest supermarkets, Tesco, Asda, Aldi, and Morrison's. The UK government has said that it is largely down to bad weather in Europe and Africa. There's also the impact high electricity prices are having on produce that is grown in greenhouses in the UK and in the Netherlands. The UK's largest supermarket, Tesco, and discounter Aldi have said that they are now putting limits of 3 per customer on sales of tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. I mean, this is the kind of thing, this is like rationing, right? So they're rationing the food, or at least rationing some types of foods over there. I mean, this is the kind of thing that we could soon see right here in the United States. I mean, all of these global economies, they're all tied up together. Now, when one major country, not to mention major US ally, gets hit with a serious food shortage like this, it may not be too long before we start seeing the same thing. And I wouldn't be surprised to see President Biden rushing out and sending all of our food over to the UK, just like we're sending all of our tax dollars over to the Ukraine, if you know what I mean. Now, in North Korea, concerns about chronic food shortages are growing, and multiple sources are suggesting that deaths due to starvation are likely. Now, some experts say that the country has hit its worst point since 1990's famine known as Audras March caused mass starvation and killed hundreds of thousands of people, or an estimated 3 to 5% of what was then a 20 million strong population. Trade data, satellite images, and assessments by the United Nations and South Korean authorities, they're all suggesting the food supply has now dipped below the amount needed to satisfy minimum human needs. It's kind of scary out here, folks, and I think that they've hit the nail on the head here. I mean, don't you guys feel that our food and money supply here in the United States has also dipped below the amount needed to satisfy minimum human needs? Or maybe resources have been concentrated on a select few, the billionaires of the world, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos. What do you guys think? This is a topic that may seem alarming, but this is crucial. It is crucial that we address it. The possibility of a food shortage crisis. It's just all these factors that are adding up to a stacked deck against the working class Americans, the C-19 pandemic, supply chain crises, extreme weather events like hurricanes, wildfires, and droughts. And we feel all of it for individuals, families, and communities. So what can we do? Like, how do we prepare for a food shortage crisis, right? Well, really, it's about building a small stockpile of non-perishable food items. Now, don't go rushing out to the grocery stores and empty out the shelves. Don't do that craziness. But, start with little things like canned foods, dried foods, and grains. These last for a pretty long time, and they can provide some essential nutrients during a food shortage crisis. And it's also important to think about water. Make sure you have enough water stored, at least a gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. Any of you guys started growing your own food yet? It's a pretty cost-effective and practical way to ensure that you have fresh food, fresh produce available that's not tampered with. Even if you don't have a backyard, you can grow herbs and vegetables in containers or, in a small indoor garden. And another critical step is to start learning how to preserve food. Now, obviously, you could do some canning, drying, fermenting, all the different methods can help extend the life of our food. Not everybody's going to do this, but I'm just throwing it out there as an option. This way, you can make your stockpile last longer and ensure that you have enough to sustain ourselves during a major food shortage crisis. Finally, we need to start supporting our local farmers and food producers. That way we can reduce our dependence on the global food supply chain, not be so reliant on the Walmarts of the world, and we can also help our local economies thrive. Now, here's a quick checklist of non-perishable food items that can last for an extended period without refrigeration or freezing. These are just some of the best food types that you could stock up on. So, let's talk about some of the canned foods. So canned foods like vegetables, fruits, soups, and meats, they're good sources of nutrition that can last for years. Just make sure that you choose low sodium or no salt added options. You don't want your nutrition sources sapping away the water from your body, you know what I mean? And speaking of dried foods like beans, rice, pasta, and nuts, they're also good options for nutrient-dense foods. They have a long shelf life and they can be stored in airtight containers. So do whole grains like oats, quinoa, and barley. What's good about them is that they're rich in fiber and other essential nutrients, and they can be stored for an extended period. You could also try freeze-dried foods like fruits, vegetables, and meats that are lightweight, they take up less space, and they can last for years. Now, some other things that are on the list, you got nut butters like peanut butter, almond butter for your protein, healthy fats, and also good calories. You've got shelf-stable milk like UHT milk for your calcium and vitamin D. You've got cooking oils, for cooking and water. Don't forget your water, guys. Yeah, so just stock up on these a little bit at a time, and by the time actually hits the fan, you'll have a decent stockpile on hand. Oh, and remember to rotate your stockpile regularly and consume the oldest items first so that your food supply is always fresh and nutritious. You can also include any foods that you and your family enjoy eating and are part of your regular diet. Just a little bit of comfort for tough times ahead, Anyway, I hope you guys picked up something from our today's US food update and daily news report. Vinegar running out in certain stores, #empty shelves coming back with a vengeance, serious food shortages in the UK that could be coming to the United States, and of course, the foods to stock up on just in case there is a food shortage crisis here. Make sure you guys do not miss the next one. We'll definitely talk about more ways to prepare for a collapse. Definitely hit the subscribe button and also hit that notification bell. And for the best way to invest in gold, there is a link in the description down below this video. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next video.